So number eight on the sci-fi extravaganza countdown with our special guest Gino Caputi, and of course, Canon Dante.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop, ever, until you are dead.
Can you stop it?
Number 8 is The Terminator. Came out in 1984, directed by James Cameron, written by James Cameron, Gail Ann Hurd, and some guy named William Wisher. I never heard of him, just speaking for myself. Ken? William Wisher?
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
Here is the setup. Disguised as a human, a cyborg assassin known as a Terminator, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, travels from 2029 to 1984 to kill Sarah Connor, played by Linda Hamilton. And he's sent to protect... Huh? Oh. I got this off the internet from some random dude. Gino...
None of us are doing this, Dante. It's only
Gino's
you.
writing up his own synopses. Ken, I have no idea how he's coming up with his. But I find some random guy off the internet. Sounds good to me. So, sent to protect Sarah is Kyle Reese, played by Michael Biehn, who divulges the coming of Skynet, an artificial intelligence system that will spark a nuclear holocaust. Sarah is targeted. Why? Ken, why is she targeted? Throwing it at you, dude.
Because she's going to birth the savior of Earth.
There you go. She's going to have a baby who is going to grow up and become the leader of the rebellion that's going to fight the evil machines. So I think we have the first movie of a few that we're going to talk about, where we talk about the conundrum of man versus the machines that become so smart and powerful. There's a danger there that they can take over. Mm-hmm. The reason I like The Terminator, and I really like this movie, from the minute it begins, I am just caught up in the movie. It's one of those movies I sit back and I enjoy the ride from beginning to end. It's a really good premise for a movie, really good story.
Yeah, great story. Great story.
We don't know how true it is, but part of the lore, Arnold Schwarzenegger originally was going to play the other role. The love interest hero, the hero role, the Kyle Reese role. But he went to James Cameron and he's like, yeah, now make sure that Terminator, he's got to be a robot. You know, he can't act like a human. He's got to do things like a robot. And he had like a whole bunch of notes for James Cameron, and James Cameron said, well, why don't you play the role?
Wait, but he was cast, not just an idea like, gee, I want to play this role, but he was cast as
Gino is going to correct us in a minute. I'll give you how I heard the story. Gino's going to correct us.
I'm like Roger Rabbit right here.
As I understand it, he
shave and a haircut.
He originally was cast to be Kyle Reese, the love interest hero. Then, you know, Arnold had a lot of ideas.
I'm a little more disappointed in James Cameron, though, because that's an obvious no.
Well, yeah, okay, and then they originally, early on, there was one guy, and I think Gino knows the answer to this, so it's more for Ken. They had one ex-football player in mind to play the Terminator. You want to take a stab at it?
Howie
no
Long.
pun intended. You want to take a stab at it? No pun intended. That's a hint. It's an awful hint.
Oh, I know. It's O.J. Simpson.
Nobody does it better than her.
Yeah.
So Arnold, they had that conversation. Arnold had a lot of ideas about the Terminator, and James Cameron said, you know what? You want to do Terminator? And Arnold's like, okay, and then the rest is history.
And
Gino,
OJ
correct us. What really happened?
And O.J. got extremely angry and
he
took
got
his
really
emotions
angry.
out completely different ways.
Well, I think that's basically true, Dante. I don't know. Did you guys listen to my flagship podcast was the Terminator with Vance Piper, who worked on.
No.
I did not listen to that one. No.
Yeah, Vance Piper shot the "I'll be back" scene. That was his camera shooting that.
Wow.
That was a two camera setup.
Excited to say, like, one of the famous lines of all time, when Arnold says, "I'll be back," that his close-up, I remember shooting that.
Oh, cool.
Because we shot with two cameras, and we had the two shot of him and the guy at the window, which happens to be one of the producers on the movie.
What did you think you learned as a DP working on that film?
Take a lot of chance with lighting. Adam Greenberg did a lot of very risky lighting with very little light, or just reflections off of people's skins from just, let's say, backlit only, and they use even just flashlights sometimes to light up a scene or to add some fill, to work fast. We worked really fast on that show. It's not like we had a big camera crew. We had three guys. It was Adam, myself, and Bernard Aurot, who was the focus puller. And then if we pulled out the second camera, they would say, "Okay, I'll operate that camera."
I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. I was told that she's here. Could I see her, please?
No, can't see her. She's making a statement.
Where is she?
Look, it may take a while. You want to wait? There's a bench over there.
I'll be back.
My understanding is James Cameron was putting the feels out and trying to get Schwarzenegger involved, but he hadn't cast him. That was just, it was like, hey, who can we get to play the lead? He met with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold Schwarzenegger became more apparent to him. I think you're right that Schwarzenegger had all these ideas, and became apparent in the meeting that Schwarzenegger would be a good robot, and I think, Cameron's been directing him very well and leading him into good performances ever since. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think that was official that he was. I know they were looking around for Kyle Reese, so it wasn't like, oh yeah, we got this new Kyle Reese. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. So Schwarzenegger, just real quick, he was a pretty big star because of Conan, and of course just his own fame as a bodybuilder. He wasn't all for this movie until it started coming together. So he was like, from my understanding, he really was like, oh gosh, I'm doing a low budget film, and then certainly I think we became impressed with James Cameron, because James Cameron was so like committed and prepared, and then I think that rubbed off on Schwarzenegger, and then again a good film relationship was born.
Well, why was it such a low budget? James Cameron, I mean, obviously we know he's done $1 trillion things in the future, but up till now, what had he done?
He was working with Roger Corman.
Piranha. He did Piranha.
He did Piranha.
They bred the ultimate killing machine. Now, you are not safe out of the water. Piranha 2, Flying Killers.
He did the visual effects for Battle Beyond the Stars, a 1980 Star Wars cash-in that came out about April of 1980 before Star Wars, before Empire, just to do what Roger Corman did, which was cash grabs. And James Cameron did the visual effects. He directed the visual effects. I mean, James Cameron's an extremely talented person. He knows every aspect of filmmaking, and he's an amazing artist too. Like he did the drawings in Titanic. I mean, so he was super prepared, and I'm with you guys, and I'll finish this and let you talk. I respect the film immensely. I mean, it is another groundbreaking, era-defining, oft-repeated, influential film. I just don't love it. I've never loved it. It's effectively a low-budget calling card from James Cameron. I mean, he crams that film full of action, and you got to give him full credit. Like, that was a $6 million movie. And
you could get a man. You might only have gotten a man for that.
Knowing what I know now, it's like I totally respect his abilities, because he really squeezes a lot out of that $6 million.
Well, I'd say now, was it his script? Was it a Cameron script?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd say it's a brilliant script. I mean, the idea, the inherent tension built into that is fantastic. I'm a big fan of Terminator 2. It's the same story. It's the same script almost. But I think they just execute on every level better. This is kind of like the aliens debate, but reverse for me. I like Terminator 2. Not a big fan of Terminator 1. It's just too simple. It's too low budget. It's too simple. It's too basic. It's a one-note movie. There's a woman in peril. It's a great premise, but there wasn't enough oomph to make it the film.
Of the three of us, I like the movie the most. Just to mention why I like it, and I really, really like the movie. I love Linda Hamilton. I call her Lyndall. Some people call her Linda. I love Linda Hamilton in this movie. Great in Terminator 2, absolutely. And maybe she's a great actress all the way around, and she doesn't get her due. But I loved her in the Terminator. She's vulnerable. She keeps her wits about her. You see that a bit of a growth, that gradual growth. It feels right, where she is going to be the mother of the revolution, literally the mother of the revolution. And then you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, perfect as a cyborg.
Yeah.
What do you remember about Arnold Schwarzenegger? Do you remember what his attitude was like?
I do remember hanging out with him for a few hours when we're doing the police car scenes where he's, in the police car and then driving around downtown looking for reason. And I'm literally in the back seat on the floor. I'd pop up and do the slate, over his shoulder. But in between the takes, we were just chatting about, his how much fun he was having on the movie.
Oh.
Yeah. So he was, and how much respect he had for James Cameron.
And I don't know if it's Brad Fidel who did the score, and it's a great score. I love the music, but there's like a dun 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 dun, like dun dun dun, dun, like pushing the tension. Dun 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 dun. I'm gonna put this in our podcast so our viewers can hear it. Dun dun dun. Like it makes me on edge. That type of sound design keeps me kind of like. And the whole movie, when I watch that movie, I'm gripped from the minute it comes on till we see our good friend Bill Paxton in that early scene.
Nice night for a walk, eh?
Nice night for a walk.
Wash day tomorrow. Nothing clean, right?
Nothing clean, right?
Hey, I think this guy's a couple cans short of a six-pack.
I think he's good.
Yeah,
I think he's good in that early scene.
He's
And then
better
right
in
to
this
the
movie
end.
than the other one.
Oh, shut up, Ken.
But yeah, that's my love affair with the Terminator.
Well, I'd say two things. It is a great premise, brilliant premise, and I think it's a good movie. Like, you can enjoy the movie, no problem. Intriguing, innovative, fun to a degree, hits on a lot of levels, but great movie? I don't think it hits it.
Okay.
Well, again, it's the aliens. I mean, it really is the aliens debate.
Yeah.
I think it's better than T2 because it's more true to its premise. People die miserably in Terminator, and I'm not interested in that. I am more interested in heroic souls, I guess. And so that's what jumped out at me. I just saw it, of course, for my podcast. And what jumped out at me is just, people die in a cruel sort of slasher movie way in Terminator. Dante, I'll give you this. I love Linda Hamilton's transformation too. I think the last scene of the movie is a really strong
It's
scene.
the strongest scene in the movie. It's great.
And it's why the movie series has endured. As she gets the photo taken and she's heading into Mexico and she gets the photo taken and she's heading into the dark, cloudy gloom of the Terminator future.
What did he just say?
He said there's a storm coming in.
I know.
I think the reason why the film holds interest for me just as something I'd be interested in is on the promise of that last scene. And I think...
which gets executed
up until
in Terminator 2.
Yeah. But again, I don't love Terminator 2 either. I think Terminator 2 is incredibly corny.
Well, the last shot.
I think Terminator 1...
Well, the irony is the last scene in Terminator is the best scene in the movie.
Spoiler alert.
The last scene in Terminator 2 is the worst scene in the movie.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm not a big... I love James Cameron. I think he's the greatest filmmaker America has ever produced, or Canada has ever produced. Whatever. Hollywood's ever produced.
I didn't know he was Canadian.
Yeah,
Ken is going to like him even more. Ken has this thing about Canada. He's very pro-Canada.
But I don't love the Terminator movies. I respect them. I understand. I'm not going to dispute your choice of the movie. It's nothing but groundbreaking and influential. I can't deny it that. I just don't love watching
and
it.
I'm going to give Ken, you get the final word on the Terminator. You got the final word.
Final word. So one thing, Gino, so you're absolutely right about this movie and the question of Terminator 1 or Terminator 2, spot on. Absolutely wrong about Alien 2. You're just wildly out there. But regardless,
Gino, one and one. Okay, I'm keeping score. 1 and 1.
I very casually said, Jim, I would just rather say, I will be back. And I thought that he was going to go right by, and he would say, say whatever you want, Yeah. And then and he says, I like it. I'll be back. And I said, no. What about a machine? I said, a machine will not abbreviate "I'll." Plus, it sounds really weird when I said "I'll." Right. It sounds weak. I said, why don't we say, "I will be back"? And he says, no, just say "I'll be back." I said, it's better "I will be back." And he says, what does the goddamn script say?
Because you're being a pain in the ass.
I said, script says "I'll be back." And he says, then say the line, okay? I mean, I don't correct your acting.
Little phone booth right downtown. Right downtown. I wanna tell her that.
When I first got the script and read it, I was amazed by the story. And I thought, is there any way we're possibly going to pull this off? Because if we can, I did think to myself, this is going to be a blockbuster movie. If we can do what's said on this script, because it was just really, really great story.